Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Got a classic for you today, another Van Halen classic. Really knocking a lot of Van Halen out lately. We're gonna learn how to do Beautiful Girls. So this one is tuned down a half step, as a lot of Van Halen is. So every string tuned down a half step, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat. All right, I'll put those notes in the description as well. All right, before I get into it though, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please, very important, ring the notification bell so you know when I release a new video, and watch the video when I release it. How about that? And please, even more important, check out My Guitar Academy. You'll see the link in the description. That link will actually get you a free 7-day trial to My Guitar Academy, which contains all of my guitar courses, covering everything from a complete beginner course to more advanced courses in improvisation and ear training and technique, complete technique courses and courses on guitar tone, everything. So please go check it out. I'd love to see you there. All right, so let's start here with this opening riff here. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the song pretty much note for note until the outro chorus, where he's just kind of doing these random fills along and doing kind of half of the riff as well. So that part, I'm just going to tell you what to use to kind of improvise like he is on those sections instead of detailing every single one of those little fills. But we will go through all the fills leading up to that and the main solo. So here we go. So that starts with the open D string real quick. And then you're going to play 2, hammer on 3, and 4 on the D. Then come over and play the second fret on the D and the G together. Then it's just the bass note you're going to catch with your thumb at the second fret on the low E string. And that's muted too there, so we have this. All right, then go back and hit those double stops again. And then the note on the low E that you're going to hit is at the 3rd fret. So we have this so far. Then we're going to jump up and grab this chord form. We're going to basically play 4 on the D string, 5 on the A string. So you play those together, and as you do that, you're going to pull off 5 to 2 on the A string. So we have this. Then we have the open A string. The open A string kind of muted there, palm muted. Then you play the power chord here at the 5th fret off the A string. And then you can, this is where he kind of changes a little bit. He always has this feel. Da, 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 da. So sometimes that little middle note might be an open A again, and then he plays the power chord at the 6th fret and 7. Sometimes that A is not as obvious. It's more of a kind of just a muted hit. So, but he's always doing that feel there. It's kind of easy to remember just do as an open A, just kind of a heavily muted open A. So I have this. And you repeat. Now, when the band kicks in, the riff most of the time kind of changes to just omitting that open D note before the little hammer-on thing. So we just now start with the 2 when the band comes in. So this is basically the 3rd time of playing it, and we just basically omitted that open D string real quick. That little thing, just a... And then here we have, after the 3rd time of playing through it, we have our first fill, which is a harmonic at the 7th, pinch harmonic at the 7th fret there on the B string. And then you're gonna play the 9th fret there on the G, and a little bar dive and return. And then back to the riff. Once again, just starting on the 2. And then this 4th ending, instead of going, it just has this, which is the 5th fret there, power chord at the off the A string, then 4, and then 2. All right, now we get to the verse, which looks like this. All right, so that is kind of got a. So first what we're doing is just starting on the low E string. And then you hit it again. And what you're doing, you're really trying to hear this. So there's some parts when he's playing this, he's really just kind of simplifying the riff, and you'll just really hear the notes on just the A string. But for the most part, when he's doing it, he's going to be playing the 2nd fret on the A and the D there. And then the 4th fret on the A, and then the 2nd fret on the D still. Now, that chord right there, a lot of times you'll just hear, just play the single note version of it on the A string like this. So that 4th fret just by itself on the A when he's leading up to the next chord. Like that. So it sounds pretty cool. Or you can play the full chord. So do whatever you want. He kind of mixes it up, but I think he does more of a single note on that note. And then he goes up to the 5th fret on the A, 4th fret on the D. And then what you're going to do is pick that, pull off that 5th fret on the A string to the open string. And then you're going to go back to this chord, this 4th fret on the A string, 2nd fret on the D. Hit that twice. Then the open A, and then the open E. So we have this. Then you kind of start over. So you want to think of this as the first ending. So that's the first ending. First ending. Repeat. Then right here, instead of doing that first ending again, we have this, which is a quick slide from 3 to 4 on the A string. Then the open B and the open high E string hit twice. I just kind of do it with an upstroke. So we have this. All right, then you go back to the previous riff. So basically, you can kind of think of the riff as 2 parts to it. That first ending and then that second ending. We're gonna go. And then we basically start the riff over with the first ending. And then the 4th time through, we just kind of had this different ending, which is just that sliding to the 4th fret on the A, over to the 2nd fret on the D, and back to that 4th fret on the A. So all together. Then you pretty much just repeat all of that again. And then that takes us to the pre-chorus, which looks like this. All right, so now this can be kind of deceiving to the ear, this first chord. So we have this. I'm pulling off 3, pick 3 on the A string, pull off 2, pull off to the open A, and then over to 3 on the low E. So that's a little fill that leads into it. And then we play this chord, which is Kind of similar to the fingering we used earlier, which is the second fret there on the A and the D together. Sorry, it's the A note. It's the G and the D string together. I'm sorry. And then play the fourth fret on the low E string with your thumb. And what you're going to be doing is also muting the A string. You can mute the A string with the tip of your index finger or over with the thumb as well. So we have this. So you're hitting the chord and then hitting the low E string. But obviously you're holding the second fret there. And then you do that fill again. And then play that again. Now, especially on this second time of playing the chord on the recording, it sounds like you hear the fifth in there as well. So it kind of sounds like this. But it's not very prominent. It's not as prominent as you actually played it. So I think what we're hearing there is actually just the overtone off the F sharp there. So I think that's what we're hearing. So don't worry about it. I think it sounds better. Just kind of stick with this voicing up. So then, after you've done that, you lead into that. And again. Then you move it over. It's not as open as I'm playing. Kind of more muted. And that's just kind of the same riff. Pulling off, pick 3 on the D, pull off 2 to the open D. So pull off all the way down, over to 3 on the A string, and then you play the power chord, the B power chords. Here it's the second fret on the A, fourth on the D, and the G. Now, which again, it's all together. All right, so then it goes back to the verse again, but it's kind of half as long. So it's not as long as the first verse. And then we get to the chorus of the song, which is really fun to play. It looks like this. All right, so that right there is just hit the open E and then so pretty easy stuff here. We have second fret on the A and the D together, then up to 4, and then up to 5. So kind of slide back down, and then now hit the open A. And then kind of the same thing we did, just one string lower. So the second fret on the D and the G string. Up to 4, up to 5, and then pick it again and slide up to 7. So we have this. Repeat. And then, when you repeat the second time through here, you can just hold on that 5. So then it goes to a G power chord, open G power chord. So third fret on the low E. Mute the A string, the open D, open G, third fret on the B, and high E. And then we go to this power chord. Sounds like he might not do this version of the chord the first time. It's kind of hard to hear sometimes. But he does play it some in the track. So it's basically a C power chord. So third fret on the A, fifth on the D and the G, but you're gonna add the third fret on the low E underneath it. Add the fifth in the bass. And then move up to the 2 frets. And then Eddie has his first kind of whacked out fill, which looks like this. So This is kind of semi-symmetrical kind of stuff he'll do. The first lick is just a little bit different. So you're gonna start here with just the 7th fret on the B string. Hammer on 9, pull off to 5, and then pull off to the open string. I just found a melody I know. Anyway, so we have this. Right there. So that's 4-note lick. Then we basically take it over to the G string, except the one difference is instead of hammering straight on 7 and 9, he does a little chromatic lead up, 7, 8, 9. And then you pull off to 5, and then the open G. So we have and then that same lick over on the D string. All right, so we have this. Then when you get down to the A string, what you'll do is you'll pick the 7th fret there, slide down to the 3rd fret, and pull off to 2. And then jump up here to the, I'm at the 19th fret on the G and the B together. So we have this, pick those, and then down to 18 on those 2 strings, and then back to 19, 18, 17. You can pick them or pull them off. All right, so pretty cool little ending there, lick there, and total chaos. Anyway, so then we get back to the next verse. And this verse has an interesting little lick in it as well. It's similar to obviously it's the same as the first verse really, but we have this little lick in there. So I'll play through it so you can just see this little fill. All right, so that little fill, so he just kind of hops in the middle of the riff. So I'm just kind of sliding up the E string, and then you just kind of, as you get up, let it fall off, and pick the open E, and then kind of the reverse on the low E, and then we slide into this 3rd fret there on the low E, over to 2 on the D, and then play the 3rd fret on the B. A little bit of bar action. So. All right, so the rest of the verse is just the same, so nothing big there. We go out of that verse, back into the pre-chorus, and then the chorus again. Now this chorus, the second chorus, does have a slight variation in it. It's kind of like this. Instead of going 5 to 7, it goes 7 5. So I have this. And then the rest is the same. All right, and then we get to the bridge, which is just basically the second half of that pre-chorus riff, kind of. And that takes us to Eddie's solos. Let me play you through Eddie's solo real quick. It's pretty short, and then we'll go through it note for note. So here we go. All right, so that's going to start with a bend there at the 4th fret on the G string. And then what he does, he comes out, it sounds like he plays like an A power chord, but he's kind of raking it. You can hear the open A string and the E still ringing, but he catches a harmonic on that second note, the second fret there on the G. And there's a little bit of whammy bar stuff on it. All right, so it's kind of a weird sound in the recording, but you can hear the power chord being played underneath it. So it. Thank you. And then jump up here. Slide up to the 9th fret on the G, and then into a 1.5 bend at the 11th fret. And then we have this next So that's a quick slide to 14 on the B to 17 on the B. And do a 1.5 bend at the 17th fret on the high E string. Release to 14 on the high E, into a bend at the 17th fret there on the B string. And that bend, and then the 14 on the high E again, and then back to the 17 without the bend, just some vibrato. So we have this. And then we have one of his patented little legato licks, which kind of starts on the 14th fret, but it looks like this. So we're going to start here on the 14th fret on the high E. Well, then what we're going to do is going to go down to the B string, pull off 17 to 14, then over to 17 on the G, then back to 14 on the B, then back to the G string, pull off 17, 16. So that's a very common lick he'll use a lot. So it looks like that. Really, that's not lit. But he started it on this note. So he went. Then he basically starts the riff again, starting from that 17 on the B. And then just take it into a bend at the 16th fret on the G string. Release down to 14 now on the G, over to 16 on the D, and then repeat those 3 notes without any bends. So. And then we end it. So that's 2, 4, 2 on the G. Kind of palm mute this too. So 2, 4, 2 on the G, then play 4, 3, 2 on the D and the A. And then that same old E power chord. All right, so out of the solo, it's basically the intro riff again. Except it just has a different fill in it. So this third time through was when we had the fill the first time. Before we did that little thing right here, but this time we'll do this. Which is just 9, 11 on the A, then play the double stops here at the 9th fret on the D and the G together. Then go back to that A string, slide down into the 9th fret, and play the 7s. That's the double stops on the D and the G. So. And then the 4th time through, just like before, just like in the intro. All right, then we go back through the verse. It's the same verse again as the first verse, really, kind of the longer verse. But this one ends with a few harmonics. So right at the very end of the verse, you'll hear this. So that's just the harmonic here at the 5th fret there on the G string, and then the B. Then the same thing at the 7th fret, and then the same thing at the 12th. A little bit of bar action, and that goes right into that chorus, which is the same as the previous choruses. All right, so coming out of that, this last chorus, last normal chorus, it goes into this kind of E riff, which is kind of another version of the chorus, is kind of extended that they end the track with. So we lead into this with a little quick little riff. Before we get to this ending section. So it's just, so coming out of that chorus. So what's going on there? You're up at this E5 power chord up here at the 7th fret. Chugging on that. Then you do some octaves. So that's just the octave at the 5th fret of the A string. So the 5th fret on the A is 7th on the G string, muting that D in between. You do play that. So I'm going to name the fret of the index finger. 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2. And then we get to that out chorus, which this is where he does tons of fills. The basic underlying riff that he'll play underneath when then he'll move away and do some crazy fill stuff and then come back. The riff is actually this. So that's a quick little pull off 3 2 to 0 on the low E. And then you go to the D power chord and the A power chord. Do that little pull off again. 3 2 0, and then that E power chord up here. The repeat. Like I said, he'll do some. He just cut his nuts. So now, what would you do there? You know, he's kind of just improvising a lot of fills there. And so all you got to really use is E minor pentatonic or E natural minor, something like that. So you can basically or you can keep going with a fill. So it's kind of like playing that main fill, that main riff like that, and then going in and just doing some fills around wherever you want, and then attach back to the first chord there. So that's my recommendation there, instead of breaking that section down, because those licks aren't all, you know, kind of some of them are buried in the mix and kind of hard to pick up. It's easy to pick up kind of what he's doing, just kind of E minor pentatonic or E minor type stuff, maybe some E minor blues, but it's pretty much that's all he's doing. So it's funner to just kind of do your own thing there. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is a great track, fun, Van Halen always is, and I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.